Welcome to Art Speak with Kate. Today we're pouring paint with Anne Zambilowicz. This is something anyone can do, have something unique and original in a few minutes. So Anne, how did you get involved in art?
Well, I was working at a farm trying to learn Mandarin or to update my Mandarin. And one of the workers on the farm, a woofer, was actually a famous artist. And she started giving art lessons to all the people who worked on the farm. And because I wanted to learn Mandarin, I went to these art lessons and fell in love with art.
Anne started her career working with children who were challenged. To work with them involved working with their hands and their ideas, and art was a very important part of it as well.
I worked initially with challenged children with all kinds of disabilities, and it was a good career for me in that I am a very quietly patient person and enjoyed the experience immensely. And then I went on and specialized with children who had bowel and bladder disorders, mostly constipation. And from there, I ended up doing workshops internationally.
And now we go to pouring art. There's many YouTube videos available on pouring art, so you too can find out how to do it, and every success. Anne is going to show me a new technique about pouring paint. And look at the nice colors we've got here.
Yes, Kate chose her palette, and it's quite exciting. We're just working on a little canvas. We put little legs on it so the paint won't stick to the bottom when we start out. And now, Kate, there's two different ways to do it. You could mix all your colors together into one container, or just go at it and start pouring these paints. But I do suggest rubber gloves.
Ooh, good.
It's a really messy process. And so we'll just try and keep it under control as much as we can. We're working on a plastic tablecloth. So go to it, Kate, just pour them on.
Which one can I start first? It's like jam or jelly. So you can drip it?
Yes, you could do that, or you could pour it.
Get dots?
I think I would recommend pouring first and doing the dots later, because this is all going to, you could leave some for later, that's always fun.
Okay.
You don't want to stir them up and get bubbles in it, because they all end up showing on the painting. Ooh. I'd stop now, it looks so gorgeous.
Right, okay. I like how it mixes together. Now a little bit of green. And I like how you get the dots, different splats. Am I supposed to do all over the place?
Well, for this first one, pour more, because you're going to tilt it. And when you tilt it, they all mix together.
Okay.
And then you can do some more dots and things on top.
Can I put some black on top again?
Absolutely.
Right. Oh, I've never done the white either. It's another one, isn't it? White goes on top. Edibles. Edibles. And now the white. Is that too much?
No, that's good. You can always add more, but the weight of the canvas won't show.
All right.
So you'll tilt it and you'll say, oh, what do I want with this? Go ahead, tilt.
We're going to tilt it. We've got to tilt it. There we go. Look. Whee. Ooh, lovely and gooey, isn't it? Yes. All around. Whoosh. Just keep pouring it and see how all the colours mix together. And if you put a finger in, what happens? Oops! It's got clouds coming in now.
The experience itself is really important because it's fun and exciting. But if the result is good, it just doubles your enthusiasm for it. People say, I'm not creative, I can't draw, and I'm not an artist. And I say, well, can you play the piano without ever studying it? It's something you have to learn, you have to work at, and You have to practice, and that's how you become an artist. There are people who have a natural ability, but for most of us, it's something we have to work at.
So to start pour painting, you need a canvas, you need some crafter's paints, and you need some liquid pouring medium. And have fun. Keep on pouring paint. This is Art Speed with Kate in the Comox Valley. Today we're talking with Toby Krell. Toby was once a nurse. When Toby retired, she was looking for something new to do, and she enrolled at North Island College and took a course in jewellery design. So Toby, tell us how you got involved with making jewellery.
Well, it was a bit of a leap of faith, you might say. I retired from my nursing management career, and I'd been doing that for about 30 years, 25 years at St. Joseph's. And I wasn't, like, I never thought I would have, you know, I've always had a lot of interest, so I thought it would be a very easy transition, but I felt like I wanted something more. And I kept looking at the program at North Island College, the full-time program, and should I do it, should I not do it? And finally I thought, I'm just going to do it. And learning something new that was totally new to me. I mean, I was the question asker, right? I didn't know anything. It's begun to transition, which is really great. Like, I have the basics, I have the knowledge, I know what's safe, I know what something should look like when it's done, and now I can play.
Toby gets so involved in the things that she's making that time just flies. She's having so much fun.
I am, and that's what people say when they come to my booths. I sell at craft fairs and markets, and I meet a lot of people, and they all look around and they say, "You're having fun." They say just what you said. And I'm really proud of that. Like, that's what they see when they look at my work. And this is all copper, and I've twisted the wire, so that's the same wire you have in your hand.
But you
See
flattened it.
I've twisted it first, and then I flattened it.
So how did you flatten it? Through here?
Through the rolling mill that you're pointing to right now.
And tell us about these pieces here.
Well, these are all that reticulated silver I mentioned, so I've already heated and cooled it and put the torch to it, and this is not polished up, so it has the fine silver
That
on the
nice
outside.
texture.
But the texture is the thing that will come out similar to this when it's done.
Yeah.
So I leave it here, and these are little offcuts. I never throw anything out. There's a great danger to having a lot of stuff accumulate.
You get so involved in your mind and your hand coordination, you forget everything else.
That's the beauty of it. What you said is exactly what happens. Like, I usually leave something out. I think, okay, tomorrow morning I'm gonna work on this little piece, and I'll round the ends and put that together. So I have something that's fairly concrete. And then while I'm doing that, maybe I put it in the bath that cleans the metal up again. Then I look at something else. I always leave these little pieces around, and I think, I don't even think, it's kind of something shifts, right? And I just, pick something up and think, oh, well, I'm gonna take that and curve that and see what happens. And it's the see what happens that is incredible.
These stones and silver put together become an art form and a wearable art. In the Comox Valley, I am Kate Brown. Today we're in Brian Buckrow's studio, and he's not on the golf course, he's in his studio because that's where he loves to be painting. So you've been painting a lot.
I paint a lot. It's what I do. My friends think it's a job, and sometimes they're critical of me for not golfing with them, but this is a lifestyle, and I love doing it, and so it's what I am now. It's who I am.
And things keep changing. Your style is the same, but it's getting freer, it's getting more colorful.
Yes, I think that's probably a pretty good description. My training was fairly tight and representational. It was all in portraiture and so on down in San Diego. And since then, I've gradually just played and tried to find out who I am. And I'm, over the last year or two, sort of settling on something that I enjoy doing mostly, which is a little more experimental, a little more impressionistic, and it's a heck of a lot more fun. So I'm having fun, and the galleries are doing well, so it's good.
And people are enjoying it as well.
Seems to be, yeah.
Aren't these fun? They're like colourful jewels, colours that you see in your imagination, but you actually see in the outside and on canvas. The 1 foot canvas is becoming very popular now.
It is.
Can you tell me, is it a good way to experiment, to try things out?
For sure, because it's small, it's a low risk thing, you can experiment and play. This is acrylic, I call it a dummies medium, because you can just keep changing it and changing it and changing it without any time delay or any worry. So it's a fun way to just sort of loosen up, and I kind of look at them like yoga exercises where you just kind of play with it a bit and see where it goes.
So you got your inspiration from a photograph?
Yeah, in this particular case, this is a photograph of Mackenzie Beach in Tofino, which is one of the better beaches that has an RV park, and this was taken up from our RV site. It's a little pushed with software to enhance the colors.
Right, yes.
And it's just, I mean, I'm not trying to duplicate the picture. I have made dozens of paintings from that image, big, small, and everyone's different. It just happenstance how things end up with it. I do not worry about it. It's just, that's my target, that's my inspiration. Whatever happens will happen. And if it's an interesting piece, if I'm happy with it, if it's fun, that's all I need. And you got to decide. I can't see too up close. As it gets away from that spot, you got to cool it down with a little orange, so it's a little quieter over here. You got to decide if I'm happy, if I'm not happy. I'm as often not happy, probably more often not happy than I am happy. And just look at it, and if I do it there, maybe we'll put a little punch up below the cloud. Am I happy with that? I'm not sure.
Echoing the light in the sky and the water.
Let it bounce down and see what happens. And again, it's just spots of color. It's not water, it's not waves, it's not sky. It's just an abstracted pattern of colors, and trying to find combinations that are interesting, that might work.
So it's a creative medium by working with a small piece that can go many different ways.
That's the way we encourage people to learn how to paint, is to start small. Then you don't fall in love with a painting. You can risk doing something different and make changes and so forth. Experiment, grow, only way you're going to do it. So it's all about making mistakes and trying to learn from them. A lot easier to do it on a small piece than a big piece, for sure.
These are impressionistic interpretations. Yes, it's a landscape, but everyone sees things differently. And it opens up, it's free for your imagination to see what you see in it as well, which may be very different from the artist saw as well.
I take each of them sort of as an experimental thing. I do them all out of my imagination and just play. And whatever happens, happens. And sometimes they're fodder for making larger paintings when you work out an idea. Sometimes it just doesn't work at all. So it's just fun doing them. It's a low risk thing to do.
You stick to landscapes and very much with acrylics.
Yes, acrylics and oil. I've been almost all acrylic for 2 or 3 years. Now I've just come back to oils again. So a number of the pieces that you see in here are oils, and most people can't hardly tell the difference between them. You just need to do something different. I have a very low attention span, and I get bored. I have a need to play with different things, and so it's fun jumping between the mediums and experimenting again.
Yeah, and sometimes when you forget what you do with one and you do it with the other, you get a different look.
Actually, one helps the other. One reinforces different things that you can try in the other medium. That works out great. Fun.
You won't see Brian on the golf course, but the one thing that gets him out of his studio in the winter is skiing on the slopes at Mount Washington. That's his passion. In the Comox Valley, I am Kate Brown.
You always go in the direction the feather grows. My name is Sharon Lennox. I'm with the Originals Only, and I do scratchboard. That is my medium of choice. My style is total realism, ultra realism. I like doing birds. That's probably my best work is birds. I love birds. I love the intricate feathers that they have and how it lies on the body, how the beak lies, how the eye looks. The eye is the most important thing on an animal or a bird or a human. And when you get that eye, once you got that eye, everything else just sort of falls into place. I need quite good photos to do my work, and I have a fairly decent camera and lens, and whenever I go anywhere, I got that camera with me. We were in Africa in 2015, and you can see some of the pieces that I've done reflects that. And everything you see is photos that I took myself, and to me that's really important, to do work from my own photo work. This is a professional level board, and it is exactly what I say. It's a hard board, and on that hard board there is clay, white clay, and on top of the white clay there's a layer of black Indian ink. Now, in order to do a scratch board, you get your image and you get it on your board. That's your first step, and you must have a very accurate drawing. Scratch board is quite unforgiving in a lot of ways, because once you get into the black, you cannot fix it. If you're into the scratched area, you can fix minor defects, but you can't do it when it gets into the black. So you got to really have an accurate drawing. Well, if I was to outline that, I can never get rid of it. So I don't want to outline it, because then it wouldn't look natural. It would have a definite stop. You would outline the odd thing, but not in a feather, ever, ever, ever. I did sketch. I had several sketches that I did when I was quite young, and I don't know what happened to them, and I wish I would have kept them, because it would have been interesting to see how it evolved from that time, with absolutely no training whatsoever and no study, until today, where to me it's my life now. This is what I do. You have to put layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of color, and I tried using a straighter mix and not watering it down, but it just doesn't seem to work the same. And you simply put it on like this. You just brush it on. It dries very quickly. You cannot do any kind of scratching on top of it until it's dry. I'm really happy doing what I'm doing. But as an artist, I don't know, I guess I'm a perfectionist. And I think that a lot of people ask me, which is your favorite piece? And I say, my next one. Because I always think there's room for improvement. I mean, I think my work does fairly well, you know, in sales and in shows. But I think there's always room for improvement, and that's what keeps me going, is to make that absolute perfect bird or perfect feather or perfect animal. It doesn't matter what, but it has to me, the perfectionism is what makes, that's what drives me.
Hi, I'm Jason Furstenberg, and I'm a fine artist in the Comox Valley. I like a real textured look to the drawing, so I'm always trying to just build up layers on the tooth of the paper, and that way the whole piece gets a nice textured look to it. I tried to follow like magic realism, so you know, it's realism. It's all anchored in realism, but with a sense of the fantastic. So, you know, I'll often, you know, draw something that like a whale or a bird, and I try to capture it somewhat realistically, but I'm not trying to capture it photorealistically. I'm trying to capture the mood of the piece. I use a lot of pencils. I can show you, I have a source for pencils from Indonesia, and I get boxes of them. So for something like this, I'll probably go through maybe 30 or 40 pencils. I used to work them down right to the nub, but it was too hard on my fingers, so I worked them down to about that much. I'm mostly inspired by Vancouver Island, and yeah, ever since we moved here, I've just been very inspired by the nature around me. It's just amazing. I came here about 10 years ago with my wife. I'd been working in Calgary and had gone to school there, the Alberta College of Art and Design. And yeah, we moved out here, and yeah, I've been kind of focused on career and family for a long time, but now I'm finally getting to focus on my fine art. Having just kind of started getting out there, I decided to try a show in the summer, and I'd always been to the originals only and respected it and Joe and what he was doing, and so I decided to give it a try, and yeah, so I got all my stuff framed and got a tent and all the paraphernalia that goes with it, and decided to give it a try, and it was really great. It was a good experience. Got a lot of great feedback, got to talk to people about my work, and yeah, it was interesting because a lot of people were very surprised to see me because I'd been you know, stuck in my hobbit hole for a long time. So. Yeah, the paper I buy in a big roll. You can't really get sheets quite this large. So yeah, for some reason I like working large. It's a bit of a punishment, I guess.